Can I get a little bit of drumming, kind of, keep us in the mood while we are getting set up? Something about drums in Ghana just kind of makes you move. This is Black History. Let's keep it moving. Keep it moving. Absolutely. As you're sitting there, kind of ponder on our theme for this wonderful official launch. It's called about building bridges, and I don't know about you all. I've only been here for about 7 months, and everything in Accra or in Ghana is all about connections, relationships, building bridges. Let me tell you something. I think by the time I'm living here now forever, but I'm building a lot of bridges, and that's something that you can definitely do here as you meet and mix and mingle with different people. It's all about connections and relationships. And I think the beautiful thing is you're able to build bridges that not only kind of crisscross this beautiful, beautiful nation, but of course crisscrosses back into a lot of our home nation, the great states of the United States of America, and of course throughout that. I think we're getting ready for our panel discussion, so again, make yourself at home. We've got our panelists set up. Let me get some water for them, and then we're going to get this thing started. So as you're sitting there also, some of the things that we will be talking about is what is Pan-Africanism, and is it really relevant today? If Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who is the first president of this great nation, if he were alive today, would he be proud? Or what about Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois? If he were alive, what would he say? What would he add? What would he subtract? Has progress been made in making this ideal a reality? We're talking about building bridges, common bonds. So with that being said, I'm going to turn over the mic to our doctor to continue this discussion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the opening ceremonies of the 2017 Black History Month celebrations in Ghana. Again, on behalf of AAAG, I welcome all of you to this event. We hope that the rains are going to hold, and we are going to have a very lively and a very rewarding experience today. So once again, welcome. From Sylvester Williams to W.B. Du Bois, to Malcolm X, to Aimé Césaire, to Kwame Nkrumah, to Nelson Mandela. How far have we come? Our topic this morning is Pan-Africanism. What is Pan-Africanism? Who is a Pan-Africanist? If W.B. Du Bois were alive today, what would he say about Pan-Africanism, about the state of Pan-Africanism? And to help us interrogate these questions, we have Dr. Michael Williams to my left. He is academic director at Webster University, Ghana campus. He's a sociologist by training and focuses on Pan-Africanism, political economy, and social movements. Dr. Williams, you are welcome. To my right is Jerry Johnson, originally from Los Angeles. A Pan-Africanist to the core, Jerry Johnson is trying to rescue Pan-Africanism from its theoretical framing and making it a functional dimension of African and African diaspora life and experience. He is working on a project at Pram titled Opening Up the Ancestor Wall. This is a mural of 80 ancestors. To date, he has painted about 69 of them. So he has got about 11 more to go, and he's working on it. He's the author of a very interesting book titled 7 Steps Towards Black Reemergence. He has also produced the Marcus Garvey Cup's audio stories for children. Jerry Johnson, welcome. expecting one or two more panelists, and as and when they come, we are going to make them part of the program. So without further ado, I'll go to the panelists. Each of them will have 3-4 minutes to tell us what Pan-Africanism is from their perspective. I'll start with Dr. Janka.
Oh, great. Thank you for this opportunity. I was actually expecting about 20 minutes. That's it. Oh, okay. Okay. Great. Oh, okay, great. For me, Pan-Africanism is a movement to unite the continent. It's also a movement that's historically been anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist. Capitalism is an economic system that allows for the unbridled accumulation of wealth for a minuscule segment of the population. So if you study Pan-Africanists over the years, they have also been socialist leaning and the ones that share the wealth and abundance of Africa. So for me, Pan-Africanism is twofold: unity and socialism. It's just that it doesn't, its history is long. It's Dr. Abaka started with Sylvester Williams, and that's the normal, traditional understanding that Pan-Africanism begins in 1900 at the first Pan-African conference in London, organized by Sylvester Williams. It's when Pan-Africanism entered the dictionary as a word. But for me, Pan-Africanism begins long before the diaspora and community began to organize officially. It begins centuries before the transatlantic slave trade and colonialism. Because if you look at Africa prior to these invasions, Africa was just interacting with itself, integrating with itself, unifying with itself. The people on the coast would interact and trade with people in the forest. The people in the forest would interact and trade with people in the savannah. The people in the savannah would interact and trade with people in the highlands and the lowlands. And that's all that was going on in Africa. Huge nation states were being created. And of course, by force. This is how nation states were created all over the world, by force. It's rare that you find people come together and agree on, let's create a nation. So we were creating nation states, so much so that had we not been invaded, occupied by colonialism, transatlantic slave trade, there's no way possible for us to have 55 states. We all know where those 55 states came from or how they were created. If Africa had been left alone, we would have probably had 7, 6, 8, 9, maybe 12 states, but certainly not 55. So Pan-Africanism as a movement, though unconscious movement, begins centuries before. We were uniting the continent. Even in our own Ghana, look at the Ashanti Empire. At its peak, it's on the border, it reaches into Togo, Burkina Faso, La Côte d'Ivoire, until again interrupted by British imperialism. Or even in Southern Africa, look at Shaka Zulu, creating a nation state, spreading throughout much of Southern Africa, again dismantled by British imperialism. And the same thing was going on throughout the continent, even ancient Mali, I think you know, which was led by Mansa Musa, who was trading from Mali all the way to Egypt. So that's what was going on in Africa. But today, I'm almost done. Today, less than 12% of African trade, for example, is inter-African trade. We don't trade with ourselves anymore because, again, of colonialism. But prior to then, we were integrated, unifying the continent. So Pan-Africanism has always been a movement designed to unite, integrate the African peoples. That's why the culture of Africa is so similar. Wherever you go, east, west, south, north, it's just similar. The institutions are the same. Extended family, religion, philosophy, culture. Kwame can talk about the language similarity. We were just creating one people. But now we have 55 states, and so a Pan-Africanist today is someone who wants to integrate and unite the continent. But it's not enough just to unite the continent for a small percentage of billionaires. No, we want ordinary, regular, day Africans to benefit from this humongous wealth of Africa. And that will move us into another realm. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think I agree with a lot of, I know I agree with a lot of what Brother Williams has just said. I think one serious point about Pan-Africanism, and we'll get into it later on when we talk about Dr. Du Bois and Nkrumah and others and what they would think of Pan-Africanism today. I think a serious part of it is how functional and what kind of results have come out of what we call Pan-Africanism or the lack of Pan-Africanism. I think that if any honest assessment by them or anyone else from today would have to conclude that we're in trouble. And as African people around the world, we're in trouble. So we can look as far as you want, whether you go to Brazil and see what's happening with the African youth there and the abuse. You can go to Colombia and see, who bears the brunt of the exploitation of the people for the oil and for other reasons. And we can go to Haiti and see that the democracy has been taken away from them by the international powers, all agreed to. We can go, of course, here in Africa and see the things that have been going on here, all across the continent. So I think from a Pan-Africanist perspective, we're looking around the world and we're asking, looking back at Garvey, we're looking back at H. Sylvester Williams, and as Brother Williams said, a lot of this goes way, way, way back before then. Pan-Africanism has been kind of circumscribed the way it's been defined, but every time an African got to try to get out of the plantation and find his way home, that was Pan-Africanism. But we're now we're at a stage where we have to figure out how do we make Pan-Africanism functional. I think Garvey has given us a good roadmap, and these others have given us good insight on what to do. So Pan-Africanism, to me, is all of us trying to solve African problems worldwide and putting in place the structures, putting in place the infrastructure to do that.
Thank you very much. Let me underscore then the fact that Pan-Africanism was and is an idea. Pan-Africanism was and is a movement that connected Africans on the continent with Africans throughout the diaspora, which is indeed a global diaspora, and that it goes back into our history. Sylvester Williams, 1900, that date is used as a placeholder because the term Pan-Africanism was formally used for the first time. But Pan-Africanist ideas go way back into our history, whether it's Paul Kufe, whether it's Martin Delaney, whether it's Shaka Zulu, whether it's Sonny Ali Sundiata. Way back in our history, those ideas connected us. Those ideas were at the forefront of the struggle for control over our destiny, struggle for independence, etc., etc. All right, thank you very much, panelists. Now the next question is, who is a Pan-Africanist? You qualify as a Pan-Africanist. Do I qualify as a Pan-Africanist? Do we all qualify as Pan-Africanists? Who is a Pan-Africanist?
Okay. Well, I identify a Pan-Africanist as someone who's working to unify and liberate Africa and African people, as Jerry said, globally. The primary emphasis has to be Africa. It's the home of African people everywhere. And so a Pan-Africanist, I think, prioritizes Africa. Malcolm X said that, Robert Garvey, they all said, unless Africa is free, no African anywhere will be free. And so we have to have a continent that's free. And that freedom will come only through unification. So for me, a Pan-Africanist is working to liberate, to unify the continent. As I mentioned earlier, less than 12% of our trade is inter-African trade. We just turn over our market to others. It's sad. We have, over 70% of the arable land in the world is in Africa. Africa is mostly arid and semi-arid, but still there's 632 million hectares of arable land. A hectare is about 2.5 acres. But we use about 179 million of those hectares. So less than 1/3 of our land, arable land, is being cultivated. This is partly why our food bill in Africa is $35 billion. Imagine, that's the food import bill of Africa, $35 billion. But when the continent unites, we have just 3 states, or 4 states, because the Sudan is 2. The Sudan, Congo, and Nigeria, those 3 states can produce enough food for the whole continent, several times over. But yet we import $35 billion a year in food. That's not fish, sure. That's not fish, that's just food without fish. And that's why we just have to unite. The Congo alone can feed the whole continent, the Congo. The Congo can provide 60% of Africa's electricity power because the Congo River is the second largest volume of water. It can produce 150,000 milligrams of megawatts. But again, through unity, we have these water all over the continent. We got 5 water basins, large water basins. The Congo, the Nile, the Zambezi, the Orange, the River Niger. But yet, less than 5% of African agriculture is irrigated. Unless the rain gods give us water, we don't feed ourselves. So that's why we, despite 70% of our people are farmers. Unlike in the industrial north, 5% of the people are farmers. But yet, we, again, import $35 billion a year of food. It's through unity these problems can be solved. It's so ridiculous that we're not interacting, we're not trading, we're not working together, that I can get, and I'll close with this, I can get Miller's beer, which I think is made in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I can get Heineken beer, which I believe is made in the Netherlands. I can get Beck's beer, which I believe is made in Germany. Give me 15 minutes, I'll bring all these beers right here. My wife's restaurant not that far from me, she has all these beers. But I can't get Flag beer, which is a great beer. I can't get it. You find Flag beer anywhere in Ghana, I'll pay you price to it now. And it's right in Togo. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is. And so these problems, again, require integration and unity. And that's what Pan-African.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Jerry Jones, where is Pan-African?
I'm glad I don't have this job. Trying to keep up with everyone. Well, who is a Pan-Africanist? I think, my way of seeing it is probably, maybe seemed a little simplistic, which is whoever is trying to move African people out of the conditions that we are in and move black people around the world into a position where we can't be exploited, abused, disregarded, disrespected. So part of who is a Pan-Africanist to me is who are the people who are sincerely dedicated to changing the power equation for black people all over the world. So to the extent that, people are here, I want to say this. A lot of people come to Ghana and come to Africa for different reasons. But when you come here, you contribute to the economy. It doesn't matter what you came for. You contribute to the economy. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter what you came for, but generally speaking, you, if not calling yourself a Pan-Africanist, functionally may be doing more to pull African people together, unify us, and give very good, if you will, vibrations between us around the globe. You go home, you take stories, you take traditions, you get the chance to go in villages, get a glimpse of how we used to live, how things were before we were fractured and put into this condition. So to me, people who are trying to bring us together, people who are trying to solve our problems, people with ideas for solving problems, and move the African agenda forward, safety, security, prosperity, productivity for blacks around the world. And that's why I say if you're sitting somewhere in America and something happens in Haiti, like happens all the time, where, you know, the list is endless of things that have happened to that country. If you're sitting somewhere in America as a black person and that affects you and that bothers you and you get up and decide to do something about it, it may just be pulling together some foodstuffs after the hurricane. It may be going to an embassy or going to a place nearby and seeing what you can do to support those who are trying to support democracy in that country and not have it overrun. Or if you look and you see somewhere else in the African world, in the Congo perhaps, where coltan exploitation and all these things are just rampant. Death is rampant. No one is talking about it because it's Black Death. And you somehow are involved, if not spreading the word, even more concrete material things having to do with boycotts or just letting people know you're using a cell phone that's full of coltan that is made at the expense or dug at the expense of African people, women, and children. Just these kind of things, to me, qualify us or you at some level as a Pan-Africanist. So the whole thing is trying to make the thing functional, to make it work, to move the needle. And at the end, whether it was Du Bois, whether it was Garvey, whether it was H.O. Vester Williams, or W.B. or Nkrumah, of course, the idea was to move our people to a position of autonomy and sovereignty where we have all of the opportunities and safety and security as any other people in the world. So that's who Pan-Africanist is, and a lot of you may not have considered yourself Pan-Africanist, but you've just been recruited.
Thank you very much. A Pan-Africanist is someone who pushes the African agenda, produces food, or ensures that food is produced, ensure that people are healthy, who will contribute towards the development of Africa. All right. The next issue we want to interrogate is what would W.B. Du Bois, what would Dr. Kwame Nkrumah say about the state of Pan-Africanism today? It is not for nothing that this event is here at the W.B. Du Bois Center. Du Bois was, one can argue, one of the theoretical pillars of the Pan-African movement. And when on 6th March 1957, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah stood at the old polo grounds and declared that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. What happened was that Nkrumah was adopting a Pan-Africanist paradigm to ensure that not only would Ghana be free, but that all African countries that were under colonialism would be free as well. And it has been argued that with the coming of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to Ghana and the independence of Ghana, the theoretical home, the basis of Pan-Africanism, shifted from the diaspora to the continent. And some people argue that over time it lost its underpinnings, it lost its militancy, it lost its potency, it lost its relevance. And so the question for our panelists is, what would W.B. Du Bois, what would Kwame Nkrumah say about the state of Pan-Africanism today, given that there have been a number of Pan-African congresses or conferences on the continent since the All-African People's Conference here in Accra? Dr. Williams.
Thank you. Yeah, I think they would be disappointed. We're just going too slow. We have the AU, but the AU is moving at a snail's pace. Nkrumah has so many quotes that we often make reference to, but one of the quotes that I like the most is one when he said that the optimal size of development of Ghana is Africa. It was a very powerful quote, and everything he did was designed to try to put that into practice, that the optimal size of development of Ghana is Africa. And this is where power comes, this is where we're able to really make a difference, especially within the context of globalization where powerful industrial economic forces take advantage of new technologies and all. So, for example, according to energy experts, Africa's energy crisis, which is very serious, can be solved with $54 billion. That's how much it would cost to solve Africa's energy problem, $54 billion. But Africa collectively collects $540 billion a year in taxes. That's how much, if you just collected, added up the taxes that we collect as a continent. So 10% of what we collect as a tax could solve the energy crisis. And so this is what Nkrumah was working on, this is what Du Bois, Garvey, they're all working on that. We have some critical mineral resources that we know. Gold, diamond, bauxite, oil, uranium, zinc, cobalt, chrome, coltan, you name it, we have it. Platinum. You can't make catalytic converters without platinum. Jerry mentioned that you can't make laptops and cell phones without coltan. Uranium, let's just use uranium. Niger is about the third leading producer of uranium in the world. It provides France with 40% of its uranium. Now, France is the leading exporter of electricity. 78% of France's electricity is from nuclear plants. 1973, because of the Arab oil embargo, France went nuclear. It's the leading exporter of electricity to Great Britain, the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, and one other. 40% of their uranium comes from Niger, one of the poorest countries in the world. Niger competes with Haiti for being so poor. Whereas France has 100% electricity capacity, Niger has 16%. So this is the problem. We come to this bargaining table with these little small nation states. But these critical mineral resources, once Africans unite, then goodness, imagine what we can do. But it will only come through unification. So I hate to belabor this point, but this is what I think the Pan-Africanists were trying to get us to see and to understand and appreciate. So yes, I think Garvey and all of them would be disappointed and frustrated because we have not gone far enough.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, I agree that they would be disappointed for sure. And we can list all of the statistics, some of which we've done. We can, go through all the pathologies that have driven this agenda on both sides, pathologies on both sides, ours and outsiders. At the end of the day, I think, of course, this really comes down to a question of power, just like most of the other things going on in the world today. And Cheikh Anta Diop wrote a book, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Cheikh Anta Diop, called Black Africa, the Cultural and Economic Basis of a Federated State, where he went around and, well, he didn't go around, but he researched all of these materials, all of these resources, all of the populations, and really put together a very cogent presentation on what actually could be done. But when we talk about what could be done, what we're really talking about is having the state of mind to do it. And I think to a large extent, whether it's Du Bois, whether it was Garvey, whether it was Nkrumah, a lot of them were trying to figure out how to deal with our mindset, how to change it in such a way that we would be the ones to guarantee and ensure that we had the power to ensure no one else could put these conditions on us. And so today, I think when we look around, we have to ask ourselves, are we creating the Africans we need to solve the problems that we have? One of the reasons that I was doing this thing about stories for African children was just that thing. Black children around the world need to understand that they
Hot. Every slave who tried to escape had half his foot cut off. Every slave who tried to escape had half his foot cut off. Full stop. And if he did succeed, woe to the folks he left behind. And if he did indeed succeed, where will he go in the white man's land? Where could he go in the white man's land? Where guns are sold over the counter, no questions asked. Where it was in the public good that runaway slaves be shot on sight, no explanations required. Unless you want to ask yourself one. Well, you saw these things move among the benches. It was so big and dark and proud. One thought only of backs and backshots. So we learned other ways to fight. First, to survive, and then to thrive. And in due course, we could join the train. The ferry ship, and all can go. The rich and the poor out there. No second class aboard this train. No difference in the fare. So get on board. Little children, get on board. Little children, get on board. Children, there's room for many more. There's room for many more. There's room for many more. Yes. While our own Aunt Harriet was the conductor, get on board. There's room for many and more. Get on board. Mwah.
Cymbal Ensemble. Another round of applause, please. Didn't that just kind of get you in the little group? Can y'all continue to drum on out? That was beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Can I get a little drum beat? Just want to do a little shoulder dance. That was great. That was great. Another round of applause, please, guys. Friends, we're going to quickly move into our second panel discussion. And so if I can get my helpers right back up to kind of set that table and little chairs back up, that'll help us greatly, please. Greatly, please. And while they do that, folks, we just want to really, this was really a team effort. And when I say team, absolutely a team effort for so many on the program committee to kind of bring this together. Again, I want to remind you that to your right, we have a wonderful calendar of events that will transpire pretty much every day, if not every other day. And then, of course, you can get an update of the events that will continue throughout this month on our website. We also want to say a special thank you to some of our special friends, especially the U.S. Embassy. We have a lot of representatives here. Danny Fennell, Sarah Shabir, and just all of the wonderful community that continues to support AAAG, the W.E.B. Du Bois Center. We just want to say a humble thank you for just leading the way and helping us make this happen. Again, the U.S. Embassy, our regards to the ambassador and the fine staff that continues to work and put service above self. So another round of applause for them as well. Of course, Webster University, who is definitely a beacon, a reflection of the U.S. here in our presence in Ghana. Koala, Roots Restaurant. Thank you so very much, Betty and Eric, for your support. I will be here forever to talk about all the great things. Coca-Cola, Tasty Treats Catering. Give them a round of applause. I don't know, it's like one of the best meat pies that I've had like all month. I'm gonna put a couple in my purse when I go home. Of course, Artists with Goods on sale. For those of you who haven't noticed, we have lots of beautiful art here. It is on sale. Our artists are absolutely wonderful until they're Happy Art, the Art Academy of Products, Miriam Designer at the Art Academy. They're based in East Legon. And just go out there, just take a little eyeball, and if you want to take something home or if you want to buy something for me, this is the month of love. Yes, yes, yes. So let's do something lovely by buying something for me. My husband won't mind. But no, there's lots of great art that we have here. Okay, so it looks like we're just about to be set up. I hope you're ready for a wonderful panel discussion. And guys, this is going to be really interactive, so we're going to be, it's kind of like a chat and chew. So if you want to grab a little bit more vittles, a little bit more meat pies and stuff, we're going to talk about the diaspora, why folks return, kind of like folks like me. So I'm actually going to sit down and participate, but we want to open this dialogue. It's going to be quite interactive. And so with that being said, my panelists who are in the crowd, I would like to invite them, if you can kind of help me welcome our panelists to the stage. I know some of them are chatting and chewing. We're going to start with Dr. Obadeli Kambon. He did our libations for us. Doctor, where are you? You're getting him? Okay. And then we have, of course, Miss Mary Kofi Squire. Miss Mary Kofi Squire coming to the stage. Hello, Madam Mary. Our wonderful moderator is Miss Krista Sanders. She is, of course, the head, if you will, of Webster University. Please, a round of applause for her as well. I'm sorry, Slater. You know what? Accuracy matters. Accuracy matters. Krista Slater from Webster University. Absolutely. And then, of course, we have Dr. Miba Freewat. She's actually on her website, her text, so she should be here just a moment. There's Dr. Oh, she's here, yay! All right, Dr. Kambon, please. And then the other panelists, shocker, me, Bettina Boateng Opari. And with that being said, I'll get everybody get comfortably seated. I think we need one more chair. Oh, I got one right here. Oh, welcome. This is why I love God. Everybody's so helpful. Wonderful. Okay, so doctor's getting situated. Again, this is going to be interactive. I have my Vanna White, if you will, or helping us with the questions. She's somewhere. She's so cute. Where'd she go? She's so cute. Ah, there she is. Okay, she'll come and help us with the questions. And so, again, let me get this started. Our panel discussion is Sankofa. So I don't know if you guys know the Sankofa bird. It's like the bird that turns back. And, Sankofa means go back and get it, I believe, if I'm, correctly. Yeah, Sankofa. And so that's the purpose, the topic of this panel discussion, Sankofa. Why do they return? And so that's and it's so funny because I'm sitting here and I know, okay, I'm going to be asked that question, and yes, and so we're going to find an answer for you. I have an answer, of course. Okay, I think we're just about ready. Yes. Everybody feeling good now? Yeah. Thank you, No Rain. Thank you, Rain Gods. Thank you.
Okay, it's wonderful to be here this afternoon. I'm glad the sun has come out. That is a good sign. It's good to see all of you here today. Again, my name is Krista Sanders, and I'm very honored to moderate this panel today. I myself also came home. I'm from Philadelphia. Initially, I came here for a period of 3 years. I actually came because I had certain career ambitions. I wanted to help develop an American institution here in Ghana, and I thought it would be an amazing opportunity that I would never get, obviously, anywhere else. But I also came because in 1999, I had the great opportunity to visit Ghana with my father, who's a professor, and I can remember, like yesterday, being at the door of no return at Elmina Castle, and remembering what that felt like, the emotion that it evoked, and feeling that I had really found my place home. So there are many reasons, I think, why African Americans and members of the diaspora return to Ghana and return to other parts of the continent. I know South Africa has also drawn many members of the diaspora. So what are the reasons? Well, we talked about a little bit connecting to one's heritage, experiencing Sankofa, for a feeling of belonging. We look at leading the rat race in the industrialized world, the Western world. A lot of us want to get away from that and come to a place that is more peaceful, less stressful. Also to escape the racism and discrimination that we've faced in these nations where some of us have been born or spent many years. Still others come to invest. There's so many opportunities. It's an emerging market. It's amazing to see all the incredible startups. I mean, really, it's an open market to start so many businesses and to be successful. And we have many examples of members of the diaspora here in Ghana who have set up very successful businesses. Still others come to retire. I talked to my father, he's 72. This is where he can get out of that rat race in America, come and retire. We also come to enjoy our temperate weather, get away from those harsh conditions some of us face, in the West. And then, of course, one of the reasons that some of us come is what? Love. All right, so the reasons are many, but clearly there's a growing trend of returning home. And, recent reports show that the number of African Americans and diasporans in the last 10 years or so, let's say 10 to 15, those numbers have tripled. And we're looking at over 3,000 of that community living in Ghana today, most of whom are living in Accra, our beloved Accra, others in Prom, others in Central Region, Cape Coast, Kumasi, Northern Ghana and Tamale, and other places. So we really have returned. There's evidence that we have returned. And while these numbers are encouraging, we know that this history of returning has been ongoing. In fact, in the 50s and 60s, we know that our first president, beloved by many, Kwame Nkrumah, was instrumental in bringing great figures like W.E.B. Du Bois here to settle. And I think it's so fitting that we would have this particular panel right here where he has been laid to rest. Also, of course, we know of our dear Maya Angelou, who had come and lived here, as well as other great figures in our history. I mean, there are many, but I think we all know that Muhammad Ali spent some time, Malcolm X, and most recently, I was very surprised by this, but just 5 years ago, I had the great privilege of taking Angela Davis for the first time through Elmina Castle and doing the Black Power sign right in front of it. I mean, that was just so amazing. What an incredible experience. And I was surprised that Angela had not been here before. And she said she had wanted to, and that, this is a place that she would come to time and time again. So again, Ghana continues to draw many diasporans, from political activists, writers, entertainers, educators, historians, entrepreneurs, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, in more recent years, what's also very exciting is to see the surge in the number of Ghanaian returnees. This is so exciting. And we see through even a show that has come out from my sister friend, Nicola Montefio. I'm sure we all have heard of her fantastic series that has received global recognition, CNN, NPR, BBC, the list goes on, an African City, that kind of looks at the journey of 4 young women who have come from UK, United States, coming back to their homeland Ghana, seeking greater pastures, to reinvent themselves, to set up businesses. This is really a story that is known at this point globally, and it speaks to the Ghanaian returnee. So without question, I would say that Ghana has become clearly a mecca, wouldn't you, as panelists agree, for the diaspora at large. Now, today's conversation, we're going to explore the various experiences of our distinguished panelists who have made a deliberate choice to return to the motherland. And we're going to ask them, why have they returned? What are the reasons? What were your expectations of return? What motivated you to return? Also, what challenges have you faced? Do you actually fit into the Ghanaian society? And that's to the Ghanaian returnees as well. These questions will be posed. What are your future aspirations? What I'd like to do now is just take a few moments to introduce our panelists. I will do that very briefly, but as we begin, I'll ask them to also reintroduce themselves, their background, but we're going to focus for our first question on why did you return? What are the reasons? What are you doing here? Okay. So, to my right, I am meeting the panelists, most of them for the first time, so you have to excuse me. We have Mrs. Mary Christus Kofi Squire Owusu. Wow, that's a beautiful, wonderful name. She's a Ghanaian. She was raised mostly in the United States. She moved to Brooklyn, New York. Anyone from Brooklyn out there? All right, represent. She moved to Brooklyn as early as age 5. And she also studied in the United States. She did her college there. And then she also lived in Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, as many of our fellow Ghanaians do. I always feel it's another Ghana in that part of the United States. She also spent some time in Long Beach, California. She returned to Ghana after living 23 years outside the country. Welcome home. Kwaba. Okay. Next on the panel, yes, let's give her a hand. Next on our panel, we have Dr. Najiba Frehawat, who is a research fellow in the History and Politics section of the Institute of African Studies. Now, she holds a PhD from a fantastic HBCU, that is Howard University. She has her Master's of Social Work from California State University at Sacramento, and a Bachelor of Social Work and African American Studies from San Jose State University. That's quite a resume, doctor. She is currently teaching in the History and Politics Department of the Institute, and she has a focus on politics, specifically the development discourse. Now, Dr. Frehawat's research primarily focuses on what our panel earlier discussed, that is Pan-Africanism, Kwame Nkrumah and education. I also mentioned that she's a lecturer at Webster University. Really happy to have Dr. Frehawat. Let's give her a hand. Okay, next, in beautiful attire, I might add, we have Dr. Obadele Kambon. I hope I've said that correctly, and oh boy, well, I tried my best. He's a research fellow at the Institute of African Studies as well, so I assume you'll see each other from time to time. Okay. He came to Ghana initially as an exchange student from my brother's school, Morehouse College. I'm your Spelman sister. You didn't know that. You see, all these connections that come in Ghana, it's just amazing. Welcome, Morehouse brother. And decided to come back to do graduate work at the University of Ghana at Legon. Yes. This year the year that he graduated, he won the Vice Chancellor's Award for the best student at the University of Ghana. Wow, that's fantastic. Now, he's going to put some of us to shame on the panel, namely myself, because he speaks fluent Twi and 3 other African languages. Let's give it up for him. 3 different African languages. What would they be?
G, Yoruba, and Walla for my main 3, but I'm also conversational, like some more.
Oh my goodness! Woo! That's quite a lot. He's married too, and we're raising our families together in a beautiful place. What an incredible country to raise children, isn't it, Ghana? Yes.
Where is he from?
Okay, yes. You know, unfortunately, the information that I received, I didn't get that fact. So let's find out. Where are you from?
I was born in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn represent. Wonderful.
Born in Brooklyn, raised in North Carolina.
Raised in North Carolina. Okay, fantastic. All right, great. Now, last but not least, to my right here, we have Mrs. Bettina Boateng Afare. She is a Ghanaian, but a native of Houston. Okay. She's a former NBC News affiliate broadcast anchor, moved to Accra just in 2016, right? 2016. Okay, I'm sorry, 2016. And she's also co-owner of Delish, a fresh food fast concept restaurant. She holds a degree in convergence and broadcast journalism from SMU in Dallas.
Go ponies!
And she's married to Gal Faure, who's a prominent Ghanaian sports TV broadcaster and promotes basketball and boxing and development in West Africa. Let's give a warm welcome to all of our esteemed panelists. Okay, so I said that we would begin with the question of why Ghana? Why did you come? Or why did you, in some cases, return? What are you doing here? What was your motivation to come to Ghana?
Hello, my name is Mary Cooper Squire. You used to hear Lucy. My maiden name is Mary Lucy. I came back to Ghana in 1983, and I don't have any highfalutin reason for coming back. I came on vacation, and I came with an African-American friend of mine from high school. We've been living in Long Beach, California, and we just wanted to take a break. I had relatives here whom I didn't know. So I wrote a letter to my aunt and told her I was coming. We got on a plane having no idea anything about Ghana. Because actually my parents didn't associate with other Ghanaians. So I was brought up as an American. So we came back in 1983, and it was quite an unauspicious time to come back. There had just been a coup, attempted coup, I think in June or July of that year, and we came back in August of '83. And a lot of Ghanaians had been returned from Nigeria. Some of people going on in Nigeria. So Ghanaians had been sent back. And the crop that year was not good. So there was a famine. So when I came back, everybody was like, what are you doing here? You know, why did you come? And to be quite honest, when I came, I didn't know anything. Oh, by the way, the aunt that I wrote the letter to never got it. So we landed at Kotoka, and we were met by soldiers. In those days, because of the PNDC, NDC, there were masses of soldiers everywhere. And unfortunately for me, I came back being an American young lady. I was wearing green fatigues, having no idea that the people who attempted the coup had attempted it in green fatigues. So I arrived in the arrival hall, going through my documents, and a soldier they seemed like they were all hopped up, you know, those days, all the tension and the stress. So before I knew it, one soldier was in my face. Take those pants, who do you think you are? Take them off right now. I was flabbergasted. And because I held an American passport, and the tensions between the socialist, so-called socialist government, immediately they thought that I was a person of privilege, or I thought that I was above everybody else. Meanwhile, I'm 28 years old. I came to have a good time. I have no idea. So he insisted that I take off the fatigues and continued to address me strongly all the while. So luckily for me, my girlfriend had come down, and we hadn't even gotten to our luggage. So one of the customs ladies begged him that, oh please let her go behind a screen and take off and change. So my girlfriend quickly ran to our bags, found our bags, came back and gave me a change of clothes. And that was my introduction to Ghana after 23 years. And I understood I'm an Ashanti born, but I couldn't speak it very well. I speak a lot better now, but it wasn't very good then. So I could understand some of what they were saying, but I could not express myself to let them know that, look, I'm coming home. This is me. So we managed to get through that part, only to come outside, and I'm looking for my aunt. No aunt. no one. So we had to hustle. Okay, what do we do now? I had no phone number, I had nothing. So we just took a taxi driver being nice, Ghanaians are very hospitable. And he took us to, I think it was called Greenleaf Hotel, I think it's still there. And that's where we spent the night. Afterwards, I got up the next morning, and again, the hotel was not what I was used to. Okay, no running hot water, you know, it just wasn't what I was used to. And so we got up the next morning. It's funny now, but then it wasn't very funny. We got up the next morning, and all I knew that my aunt had worked for SNP. I didn't know what SNP was. I just knew she worked for SNP. So I actually started taking a taxi, and I went from SNP office to SNP office to SNP office. And that's how I found my aunt.